Hi, it's Mark from WinningSolutionsInc.com, coming to you from day 3 of the Microsoft Partner Conference 2017. It's called Inspire, and it's in Washington, D.C. this year. Just finished up the keynote presentation over at the Verizon Center, and it was very well attended again today. The day 3 keynotes is quite a bit different. While it did focus on letting us know what good technology can bring to the world and talking about how Microsoft is part of that, and going through some historical solutions. They looked at the company Johnson Controls and how they're a 130-year-old company and how they've had to change with technology from the day when they invented the thermostat to today. And all of that was quite interesting. But then that was immediately followed by Microsoft's attorney. And if you watch some of my reports on this conference from years past, you'll see my initial surprise that what is the corporate attorney doing at a technology conference for partners who are trying to sell Microsoft stuff. And so this is really surprising, but not so much of a surprise this year. And Microsoft took a very different perspective, more of a worldview, I would say. It's kind of hard to describe. I don't think we've seen corporations, interact with their dealers or resellers or partners in this kind of fashion before, where they're, understanding that world events and things that go on geopolitically are going to impact their business, they're going to impact their partner's business, and so they felt it was necessary to bring that topic to the forefront and discuss it. So obviously there have been a lot of big computer security things going on, especially recently, where there have been hacking things that have involved Microsoft products and that sort of thing. So they did address those directly and how they plan to make that more secure and how they're hiring more people to do security and that sort of thing. And so that's very interesting. We'll see if they're able to do that. I did feel there were kind of some conflicting signals there about their role and responsibility in that. But at least they are aware of it, and at least they're trying to address it, and they know it's a serious issue, and they understand how big the impacts are geopolitically for our entire society. So they also spoke heavily about GDPR, which is a European initiative for privacy and making sure that companies are held responsible for not handling data correctly. So Microsoft is continuing to set a big focus on this, which is probably a very good thing. And we'll see how this comes out in another year. We'll see if they were successful in enabling partners and enabling people and their customers to take advantage of this. So there were some very frank and a little bit startling things that they said, and they came out on the forefront and just said cyberspace is the new battlefield. And so, remember, we're in Washington, D.C., so more of the conference is oriented toward the government and the local audience because there are probably a lot more people here from the government or who are Microsoft partners who provide services to the government. So they talked about threat protection, security management, how they're trying to enable that through technology, from simple things to complex things like looking for social security numbers in emails and flagging those emails as confidential and things like that. Microsoft has really actually gone on the offensive, and there were a lot of things I heard here today. I do try to follow all the other companies like Facebook and Google as well, and I was really surprised by how Microsoft really came after this and really went directly at it and addressing how it's not just going to stand by and hope that other people deal with these problems that we have in society. So they're doing things like establishing a digital crime unit. They're actually prosecuting people for hacking who are doing bad hacking and proactively taking away malicious domain names and things like that. And I haven't really heard about other companies doing that. So I think it's great that Microsoft does that. And if other companies are doing it, that's great too. I just haven't heard about it yet. But if Microsoft is showing leadership in this area, I think other companies should follow. And I think this is a good reason to support Microsoft, and it's another reason that we're proud to be associated with them when they're doing things like this. So, on a technical side, back to using two-factor authentication where you receive a message on your phone to log in and things like that are very important. And then Microsoft did some bold, again, government-oriented things, and they actually went out and called for the need for a new digital Geneva Convention, kind of like we've had for governing wars. And basically what they said is we have to, they called out foreign governments, they didn't name names, but who are targeting civilians in time of peace. You know, civilians aren't supposed to be targeted in time of war, so why in the heck would they be targeted in time of peace? And this was a direct reference to election rigging and fake news and things like this. And so again, it's exciting to see Microsoft just step out of tech and not say, oh, well, we're not going to worry about these things, or we can't do anything about it. They realize how big they are, and they realize how important they are, and they realize that they have to set the tone and set the discussion. And they really spent a lot of this morning doing just that. So it wasn't tech, it was really a lot about public policy, where the US is going to be in the future and that sort of thing. So I really do applaud Microsoft for doing that. If other companies are doing it too, that's great. I hope they do more of it. If they're not, I really hope they start. And so then Microsoft talked about it for itself, wanting to be kind of a digital Switzerland, so that they want to basically be able to work with people all over the world who aren't necessarily in countries that have, you know, aligned political beliefs, but they did specifically state that they are not going to allow their technology to be used by a government to disrupt other governments, or to, you know, do these types of political activities that are undermining another government. So I think that'll be challenging for them to do, but and it may not have much of an impact because people may just use other technology, but it's a good start. And so they had a very good quote from Gandhi, who said, the future depends on what we do in the present. And I think that's something for all of us to think about, what we can do. So then, you know, Microsoft did talk about its big impact for partners, as they always do, and modern workplaces and business applications, and kind of a repeat of stuff we had heard in the previous days. But then they actually brought a different person on stage who was more of a political consultant. And that was a big surprise to see that happen. And so they were basically talk politics for over an hour. And it was very informative, but from a political perspective, from a Microsoft perspective, and that sort of thing. And they spoke directly about the unwinding of Americanization and globalization. They talked specifically about US elections and foreign elections, and Brexit, and exiting the Paris Climate Agreement, and what they felt about those things. I'm not going to go into all those details, and they're not really too relevant here for this audience. But if you search for the Inspire Conference Day 3 Keynote, they probably have it on their website. And so if you'd like to see what a technology company is saying, and how they're, you know, having these discussions within the company and within their partner network, I would encourage you to check that out. You know, we'll see how things happen going forward. You know, they talked a lot about India and China and things like that. Again, that's too much to get into here, so we'll leave that if you're interested in those things. And I would encourage you to check it out. It was more like kind of being at a TED Talk type of thing than being at a Microsoft conference, and that's okay. So if you want to check that out, do search for Microsoft Inspire Keynote Day 3, and I'm sure the search engine will get you there. So with that, I'm on to the next sessions for the afternoon here to learn more about some things, and I'll be sharing those with you from a Microsoft Small Business and Access and Power Apps perspective throughout the afternoon. So thanks for listening. See you in the next video. Talk to you soon.